brought to you by Abby's Legendary Pizza and Kronesburg Electric.
Well, welcome to the Big Playback Pre-Game Show. I'm your host, Noah Chash, joined alongside by Carly Keenan. We're live at Summit High School where we have, folks, a matchup for the ages. Summit and Bend, it's gone back a couple years, but right now, two juggernauts. Summit, in the most recent coaches poll, ranked number 1 in the state. Guess who's number 2? The Bend Lava Bears. A lot of sparks going to be flying. Carly, what are you expecting tonight?
Well, Noah, I'm expecting an amazing game for sure. Lots of energy. People are already pouring in, and you can just feel it. We've got about an hour until the game starts, but the energy is already climbing its way up. And I'm also expecting both these teams to bring their A games. I feel like they're both at that sweet spot in their performances thus far, and I think they're definitely going to bring it. It's definitely a prove-yourself moment for both these teams, but so far, the Bend Lava Bears have been doing everything right this season. They've scored 220 points. That's the most in 5A in the entire state. And if we look at their defense, they've only allowed 7 points all year. That's the fewest in 5A, a 220 to 7 ratio. And what makes this team really great is they're loaded with experience. 33 seniors on the team, including quarterback Logan Malinaski, who has passed for 8 touchdowns, and senior running back Malachi Nutter, who has 9 touchdowns on the season. But now they take on one of last year's quarterfinalists, the Summit Storm, easily their toughest test to date. I spoke to a couple Lava Bear players and their coach, Matt Craven, and they tell me they're not afraid of the Storm, and this is just another game.
We're excited, but we're going to take every day, day by day, because we know that the team we're going to go against is going to give us our best look on Friday.
Our preparation doesn't change when the game gets bigger. Obviously, when you walk out on the field and there's thousands of people in the stands, the feeling at the game changes, but the way we prepare doesn't vary.
Don't get down. It's going to be a back-and-forth game. There's going to be big plays on both sides, so make sure the morale's up so we can play hard all game long.
All these kids know that Summit's ranked number 1 in the state. I think all these kids have grown up, in a community where you tend to know kids at the other schools. We want it, they want it, everybody wants it.
It means a lot. We've been playing, been going against these kids since middle school, since 6th grade, so I know a lot of them, and it's kind of a big game for us, but we're still just going to treat it like any other game, practice hard, and play even harder.
It's really exciting, especially being a hometown game, but we're treating them like anyone else and ready to pop them in the mouth.
Hey, get back to work! God damn it! See that? Respect.
Those Bend players, they were having a lot of fun as I was interviewing Coach Craven. And honestly, at their practice, a very lighthearted atmosphere. They're having fun, enjoying it. And Coach Craven told me, this game matters. It's important, great for the town. But it's not the be-all, end-all of the season. They still could lose this game and go on to do great things, or win and kind of go in a different direction on their season. So it's really not all that there is for this season, but it certainly is their biggest challenge to date coming up.
Oh, you're absolutely right. And as you mentioned earlier, the Summit Storm right now is currently ranked as the number 1 team in the 5A division. So the Lava Bears certainly have a big matchup tonight. But Summit, I was talking to them earlier, and they're not nervous, but it's a big game for them as well. Their only loss came on their first game of the season against Tualatin, who is the 2nd overall team in the state in the 6A division. And since then, the Storm has outscored their opponents 151-51, with each team win decided by 2 scores or more. The Storm have 18 starters from last year's 6A quarterfinal team playing this year, so they're just loaded with experience and talent. On offense, you've got speedsters like Sam Stevens, who's run for 5 scores, and then the senior quarterback Hogan Carmichael, who's thrown for 13 touchdowns. Then on the defensive side of the ball, you've got 2 ball hawks and senior linemen Chip Allers and Spencer Elliott, both with 7 sacks on the season. And I spoke to Summit's head coach, Corbin Hyatt, and some of his players who tell me they've been keeping things simple and treating this as any other game.
I think we've had a great week of work. Our kids have played in games like this before, so it's a huge game. The community is excited, student body, but our kids have taken it as just another regular season game.
I'm really excited. Obviously, they're a good team, so it's gonna be a battle. It's obviously really cool getting playing a 1 versus 2 game, and it makes it even better that we're both Central Oregon teams, and going to be fun.
We instilled on Monday that we would not refer to them as that school, so we referred to them as the other team all week long. And so that's kind of been our motto, is let's focus on us and not the other team.
It's really fun because, we've played against these kids our whole lives, and maybe the last time we're going to play them in football.
The two teams have had amazing seasons so far, so we'll see how it kind of goes this evening.
It's going to be heated. It's going to be a good game.
Well, one factor that certainly needs to be touched on, and Coach Matt Craven of the Ben High Lava Bears talked about it, it's that Summit High student section. You can see them. They're actually starting to pour in. Maybe you can hear them. Maybe you can't see them. They're rocking the camo out. But they're always here. Sorry, it's a bad pun. They're always here for every game. They're loud, and I know they're expecting pretty big things tonight.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the student sections are already filling up. And again, we've got about an hour until the game starts. So the fans are coming. And when I was speaking to head coach Corbin Hayek, he told me they sold 3,000 to 4,000 tickets.
Wow.
So a very big crowd. I mean, I think a lot of people here in the community are out here, are coming to this game tonight.
And it's going to be packed, but we do have some other Central Oregon games going on tonight, and one that actually happened yesterday. We'll be breaking down those matchups in just a bit. We've got more football coming up. And welcome back to the Big Playback Pre-Game Show. And as I mentioned, Carly, we do have a few other matchups going on tonight.
We sure do. And last night, Mountain View High School actually played Redmond High School.
They did, and this was an interesting matchup. We're not going to give away the ending just yet, but they played in Mountain View sitting at 3-2 on the season. All three of the Cougars wins by double digits, and their two losses each by a field goal. So they're right in every game. Meanwhile, Redmond is 2-3, and the Panthers, they have that big playability on offense. They have one of the state's leading receivers in Nathan Walks. I feel like we're calling his name every week with our highlights. But their issue has been consistency. We're not going to give away the results of the game. You'll have to tune in tonight on the Big Playback for that one.
And we'll also have coverage of the Ridgeview and Caldera game. Both these teams sitting at 1-4 and in the bottom of the IMC conference. One big difference, the Ravens have scored 110 points this season, while the young Caldera team has only scored 29 points. Caldera, of course, is in its first year with a varsity program and without any seniors on the team. Meanwhile, Ridgeview does have a lot of familiar faces from last year's successful squad, but not really seen any of that payoff so far this season.
And don't you worry, folks, just yet. We know there's games going on outside of Bend, and we're going to talk about them.
Yes, here's a look at tonight's Friday Night Light schedule.
So we have Mountain View and Redmond played last night, as we mentioned, but we do have those highlights for you coming up. Obviously, Bend and Summit play at 7, as well as Ridgeview and Caldera.
The Cowboys are hosting the first-place Pendleton Buckaroos, Sisters hosting Cresswell, and Culver taking on Regis.
And Madras actually plays LeGrand tomorrow. Taking a look at our standings now here in the 5A. Here, let me look at this right now. We know Summit's at the top here. Carly, let me let you take it over, actually.
Yeah, so things are looking, like you mentioned, Noah, Summit at the top in the 5A Intermountain Conference heading into Week 6. And Bend at number 2, of course, right behind Summit. So two of the top teams in the league. Mountain View and Redmond played last night, but came into Week 6 with flip-flop records at 3-2 and 2-3. And Caldera and Ridgeview at the bottom with 4A records. So we have matchups of the top, middle, and bottom half of the IMC, and that's a really great scheduling.
It's like they planned it to be like that on purpose. Yes. All right, Carly, now looking at the 4A division, Crook County sitting at 3-2 with 1 win in conference play, taking on those first-place Buckaroos that we've seen so much of this year. And Madras, same record, but a loss in conference play, putting them towards the bottom.
Yes, and meanwhile, in 3A Lapine, looking strong again this year, sitting at really top of the pack. Sisters not far behind at 3-2.
And how about our Culver Bulldogs in 2A? Let's go Bulldogs. Top half of the conference at 3-2 with a 2-1 conference record. And you know what, Carly? We wanted to put our skills to the test here. We've been talking a lot of football. Why not put some predictions on these games coming up, okay?
Yeah, let's do it.
Does that sound good? All right, let's start with Culver and Regis. All right, the Bulldogs have been high scoring. I'm not going to go against the Bulldogs. I say they win it 38-35.
Okay, I say they're going to win it 27-21.
Okay, 27-21. Now let's move on to Sisters and Cresswell. You know, no surprise, going with the home team here.
Yes.
I say the Outlaws win 15-10, a low-scoring battle there.
Okay. Oh, really? Low scoring.
That's what I'm
thinking.
thinking.
It's going to be 21-17.
Okay. Madras matinee game. I say they thrive in the sunshine. 13-6. Couple missed extra pointers.
Okay. I think I'm going to go a little bit low scoring. 14-7.
Okay. All right. And a tough match for Cook County tonight, but I say they pull off the upset by a point, 29-28.
Okay. I'm going to say 23-17.
All right, Redmond, Mountain View, they already played. No predictions there, but Central Oregon matchups, Ridgeview, Caldera. I think Ridgeview finally has that breakout offensive game, and they take care of the young Wolfpack. I'm going to take it, let's say Ravens 48-7. I think they give it to them, yeah.
Okay, well, I love rooting for the underdog, or in this case, I'll say the younger dog, because we know Caldera has a pretty young team. Oh, but I think Caldera is gonna win this one, pull it out of the bag, and I'm gonna say low-scoring game. Let's go 14-7.
Okay, and now we have the big one, the reason we're all here, Summit versus Bend, number 1, number 2 in the state. I mean, you know, a lot of people are going to feel like Summit has the win. They had the tougher schedule. They've been to the quarterfinals. But I'm actually going to go against the grain and support the underdogs. I say Bend wins it. You know what? 23-21, Lava Bears.
Okay, I think Summit's going to take this one. They've been playing a lot of state competition teams. Summit's going to win 45-41.
All right, watch the Big Playback tonight at 11. Katie and Lee have more weather and news after this. We'll see you then.
See ya.